Right, Jordan, our pals at Beer 52 are still giving I Had Trials Once listeners the chance to get a free case of beer delivered straight to your door, which is perfect in the lockdown. Usually it's worth 24 quid, but the only cost is £5.95 for the delivery. And the link is...
Is it me? beer52.com/trials.
Brilliant, Jordan. One job and you nailed it. Right, Jordan, before we get started, everyone has a bit more time on their hands, obviously, with the lockdown. But there's plenty of daily articles, interviews, etc. on The Athletic, which are well worth a look. And remember, we have a special offer for the pod. What is it, Jordan?
Well, they've sorted us out a 7-day free trial plus 50% off your year subscription on theathletic.co.uk/I Had Trials Once.
Lovely stuff. Right, let's get stuck into today's episode. Hey, pal.
Oh, how you doing? You all right?
Yeah, you?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. You know, first time using this, so just trying to get used to it.
Oh, is it?
You've done all right so far. I couldn't even get it on first time.
How you doing? You all right?
Yeah.
Oh,
How's it going for you?
Yeah, it's busy really because I've got a little one. He's 1 soon, so he's keeping us busy, like doing everything. He basically plans out the day really. So
don't start heads off with kids, mate. Jeez. He's got 3 of them running about.
Oh,
mate,
I mean,
it is ridiculous. It's a different level of stress. It's unbelievable. Obviously, just obviously for all our listeners, Nathan Tyson, everyone joined us. Thank you very much. Thank you for escaping from the kids, if you will. It's a good excuse, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. I mean, like I said, this one just keeps me so busy and that, and I think I'm driving the wife at the wall as well, really. So
it's all about it.
Yeah, it's so bad.
I see, Nath. I see the lockdown hair's doing well.
Look, do you know what? I've not even combed it out. I was going to comb it out for you. I was thinking, mind you, I got a wig in the wardrobe, and I was going to put that on just for banter, but
an afro one.
Oh, so yeah, no, it was like a proper like ginger straight one. I had to wear it for the stag do. So
that'd have been brilliant.
Yeah, I had a dress with it as well.
The dress would have just that'd have topped it off.
Yeah, but I
was
giving out too much cleavage. So
is that it? So, how have you been keeping yourself fit then? Have you been doing what everyone else is doing, following like online videos? Have you got your own little gym at home or what? Or is it basically just bouncing the 1-year-old off your knee?
To be fair, I think most of it has just been like outside work. I think it's vital to stick to like grass, like pitch-based stuff. So, because you see a lot of players doing like 10k, 5k. To be honest, that's not me.
That's not me, mate.
my back just goes and everything. So, I mainly just stick to like doing box-to-box stuff. I mean, I've done the 5k and the 10k runs. They do have their purpose, but I'm an explosive player, so I need to keep doing my sprint drills and stuff.
We had your old gaffer Ainsworth on the other day.
Yeah,
and he's sort of told his players that not to do too much. Is that what you've been told or not?
Not really. to be fair, they've not really said much because, like, obviously I'm still currently on loan at Chesterfield, so they've not really said much, and like they've furloughed the players and everything. So you just basically got to use what you've done in the past, experience-wise, and I think some of the young lads are obviously still keeping in touch with the sports, you know, the fitness coach and stuff. He's sent out programs, but I've got like tons of programs that I can abide to and look into. So especially ones from Wycombe anyway. So
you've always been a fit lad though throughout your career, haven't you? Like you know, physically and stuff like that.
I just keep myself, you know, I want to look after myself, like, especially when I finally jack it in. It's something that I want to keep on top of because I don't, you know, I see a lot of players that I've played with have got a few beer bellies and stuff. So I just want to,
Yeah.
I want to make sure I stay
There's
away.
a few
from
still in my league with beer bellies.
Yeah. I've seen a few inside. Mind you, I've seen a few up in high levels and stuff that have got a few pot bellies now and then, but and they tend to be the most technical players as well. So it's quite strange.
I was always too vain to let myself go, no matter what. I never went into the gym thinking, right, I'm specifically going to work on something here for football. I always used to think, how will I look on that beach in them shorts? What do I need to improve on? And that was it. But that always kept me in good stead, though, because I obviously, you always keep strong and keep fit, and that obviously just relates to your footy anyway.
Yeah, I think the strong element, like throughout football, like diet is now massive right now. So if you look after yourself diet-wise, it makes it easier for you to get that energy to do the runs that you need to do and keep yourself, fit and reduce risk of injuries as well. So diet has always been the key. But if my wife comes in now, she would be like, "Yeah, what about the 5 cookies that you polished off at the weekend?"
Oh, really?
Standard.
Yeah. Yeah, need the calories.
I don't know if you can see, but we've been baking biscuits this morning. Have you seen?
Oh, right. Nice. Well, they're animal shaped.
Animal shapes, yeah. And instead of chocolate chips, we had raisins.
No,
so,
come on.
I know.
That's a sin.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to con my kids into eating healthy.
Well, I went on a bike ride yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
Did a 19 miler. Hang on.
Sorry.
Did a 19 miler. Was feeling good about myself, and then my mate rang me and said, "Just got a new job at Domino's delivering. I've got about 6 pizzas here. Do you want them?" I said, "Yeah, go on." Just you can't say no to that, can you? So
he's just got a job at Domino's.
Yeah, mate. I think he's skinned. He's got it in we live in Bury, and he's got it in Burnley though, so none of our mates see him. So he's done right there.
Has he got a moped or is it a car?
Nah, he's just got a car. He's not a proper goon.
That'd be brilliant little moped.
I tell you what though, what about, because I've been hammering some guy on Twitter all week for sending out a CV on Twitter, but that's how you got your first club, innit, Tice?
My first, say again.
How did you get your first club? Is it true you wrote to clubs?
No, I didn't know it. Like what back in the day?
The trials.
Wow, yeah, the trial. So
it'd be carrier pigeon back then, wouldn't it?
So how it come about? I was helping a friend out doing tree surgery when I was like 16. So I'd left school and I didn't even know what I was going to do. And I had trials for to go and compete for athletics, triple jump for the south of England, like in the nationals and that. So, and my dad said to me, "Look, you've got a trial for Luton on the same day." And I was like, "Well, Dad, I think I might try out athletics. Football's not really working. I've been released from Crystal Palace, been released from Millwall, didn't work out. It was too much travelling." And my dad said to me, he said, "You're not doing athletics." He said, "There's no money in athletics, and plus you flunked at school. Like, you've got 2 GCSEs. Who's going to take, you need to go to uni." So basically, I went along to the trials at Luton, and then it was the end of the season. The game we played, we got absolutely battered. And I'm thinking, I'm not getting called back here. But they phoned me up and said, "Look, come back in August." July, August. In the meantime, I was helping out my mate with tree surgery and that, and I was earning good money. And then when I told the guy I need to stop working because I'm going on trial at Luton for a month or so, he basically just said, "Right, here you go. Here's 250 quid. Go and buy yourself some new boots." And back then, boots were 50 quid. So I was just like, wow, I can get myself 3 or 4, 2 or 3 pairs of it.
So he was sound then. He sorted you out.
Yeah, he sorted me out, so it was brilliant. And money was tight in my family anyway, so it was a massive relief. And I think I ended up going on trial to Luton, but they just dragged it out, and it got to October time, and they still hadn't given me a reason, like, if they're going to keep me in that. So I was just playing in these games, like, on trial. It was like 3 months trial. I've never...
No pay.
No pay. So, like, I was travelling from Reading on the train into Luton. It was a ball ache anyway. And then they eventually put me in digs for a week. And I remember, like, oh my God, the first couple of days. And it was the first time I've been away from home. I phoned up my mum, I was crying on the phone in the phone box and that. And she was like, Nathan, just stick it out. I was like, Mum, I want to come home. Anyways, it worked out all right. The lads there were fantastic. Matty Taylor was there. And, a couple of others as well. They were great lads. But eventually I said to them, look, what's happening? And they said, oh, I'm not going to take you on. I was like, bloody hell, I've just wasted 3 months.
Jesus.
And it was a killer. Yeah, and then they sent me over to like Cambridge. I played against Cambridge, played a good game against them. And so Cambridge said, look, we'll take you. Come and play in this game against Bristol Rovers. It's an away game. We'll pick you up on the M4. So I'm like, bloody hell, like overnight in a hotel. I'm thinking, I've not even met the lads. We turn up in that at the game and that we get battered and that. But the guy likes me. He said, look, I want to sign you. And then Reading get in touch with my dad. And at the same time, while this was all happening, I played for my local non-league team, Wycombe Town, who have folded now. And I was playing for them, and then Reading were like, look, we want to take you, come on trial. Eventually, I'd go on trial, do well, they want to sign me. But Wokingham Town want a fee. So Kevin Dillon, my youth team coach, was just like, a fee? Said, basically, bugger off, like, it ain't happening, and we're not paying no fee for him. Like, and they ended up signing me anyways, and then the story goes on from there. So,
who's told us that you wrote to clubs then?
No, it's not my best mate. No, basically, so I've done with agents. Like, seriously, I had enough of them, and this is probably recently, really. So I went. My wife said to me, "Why don't you go on LinkedIn? There's loads of like managers on there on LinkedIn and stuff." I was like, I don't know, but it's a bit like I felt awkward doing it. You know, I'm handing out a CV to go and look for clubs. To be fair to her, she's helped me with my CV and that. And ever since then, I've just never used an agent, and I managed to get into, speak to lots of managers. Went on trial at Port Vale. That was the interesting conversation with the chairman at the time. Basically, I don't even know what I should say, but basically he offered me the pensioners rate. He said no. He said he offered me a contract, but it was the pensioners rate. That's what he said, because I was coming up to my 35 and that, and he was just like,
cheeky bastard.
Played against Benfica at St George's Park. It was one of the trial games, and I played really well. And then the next day, we had to play Wolves at Port Vale. So we played Benfica on a Friday and Wolves on a Saturday. I've never done that. I was like, bloody hell, last time I did that, I was at school, back-to-back games. So it's, I remember coming off the bench and I was like, my legs are completely gone. And,
we played against Benfica at St George's, didn't we, Sid?
Did we?
For Salford.
I think we might. Oh, yeah, I think we did.
And Renato Sanchez played, and he was class, but he's not done very well, has he?
What year was this?
I bet it was the same year. It must have been.
Yeah, it must have been.
It must have been when they come over. I'm sure ours was on a
6 years ago. 7 years ago.
Yeah, that rings a bell. Yeah.
That'd been it.
Did Sanchez play against you?
I think so. I think a lot of, to be fair, I was just like concentrating. Like, I need to do well. I need to do well here. To be fair, I think they were quite shocked in that. I remember the coach come over, and I think he ended up finding out actually how old I was. He was just like, "This guy's running channels, closing players down." So it was.
Who's this busy young kid? 35-year-old.
Yeah. Oh, mate, it was good. It was good times. Good times.
So how did you go from Reading, obviously, like being signed in, like kind of like the last minute, to progressing through to the first team? Was that quite an easy path or not?
You never played for Reading, did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I played. Yeah, I played. I can't remember, like 30 odd appearances or
33
something.
games, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Only the one goal. But I was playing out wide, so
Ah, right, okay.
yeah. So I basically So I joined halfway through, like the first year YT, and that was basically literally I was so skinny compared to all the other players, and I think Kevin Dillon was, at the time he just said, look, we need to bulk you up and stuff, get you stronger and everything. So I had my speed, but my first touch was awful. It's got better now, but so there was just a lot of stuff like fitness wise as well. I remember doing a run and I threw up and everything. It was getting to that point of being in the professional environment, and obviously back then cleaning boots and stuff, which I'd never done. But as much as I hated it, looking back on it, I kind of enjoyed it, really, having that responsibility of looking after, being part of something as well.
Yeah.
So it was.
Who were the names in the first team at that stage?
So we had like Phil Parkinson, Adi Williams, I think Nicky Forster. Got the list goes on. I mean, a lot of the players. Tommy Burns was the manager at the time when I first went there, and he liked me. He brought me over from the youth. I remember getting a phone call. I was at the youth team training ground, and Kevin Dillon says, "Oh, you've got to go to Sonning. You've got to go to train with the first team." I was like, oh, "This is banter." Whatever, yeah, you're joking. He said, no, seriously, like, you need to get over it. I think he's going to drive you over. I remember getting there and thinking, wow, this is different. The banter, it looked like ruthless. And
did they give you a hard time at first or not? Or did they...
No, they didn't. I think Ray Houghton was there, actually, and I played my first reserve team game. This was when I was still on trial. So they asked me to play in a reserve team game away to Gillingham. And oh my God, like I give the ball away, and Ray Houghton was on my case, screaming and shouting at me, and I'm thinking, wow, like I've never had this before. Like I didn't understand what was going on, but I didn't really feature much around him after that. And then till I signed, he was pretty much coming towards the end of his career, really. But Phil Parkinson was fantastic with me, and Graham Murty as well. It wasn't until when Tommy Burns left that players like Nicky Forster, Jamie Curtin, Martin Butler, John Solarco later on started coming through into the team, and you learned a lot from them. I mean, Jamie Curtin was probably one of the best finishers I've ever seen.
So,
hands down.
So did you play in that year when they lost in the playoff, I think semi-final or the final, you didn't go up? That would have been round about 2000, 2001?
Yeah, so I
would have been earlier than that.
I'd have been 10.
I wouldn't know.
just because I tell you a story. I went on trial for Reading in like 2000, and
really,
yeah, I came on trial, and then Alan Pardew was the manager.
Yes, yeah.
So I can't remember. I can't remember the exact year. And anyway, did really well. Played up front with Jamie Curtin, Nicky Forster. Played really well.
Yeah.
Played another game. Then got paraded on the pitch at the Majeski Stadium as the new signing. I've still got the programme saying, because I was in the RAF at the time, they were signing me out of the RAF. And then
what RAF were you at?
Cosford. RAF Cosford.
Because we had a player that we were trying to get from Arborfield.
Right. No. So and then you lost in the playoffs, and I just got a phone call off Pardew saying, really sorry, no funds, can't take you on.
Wow.
Yeah. So I ended up signing for Bury instead.
Yeah.
Wow, what a bad move. That
year, I think I've been out on loan to Maidenhead, so I might have missed. We might have missed each other then.
Yeah,
but I know I was still training with Reading, and then I was training with Maidenhead in the evening. So
just trying to think if it was it. Yeah. They said that they had this. said that they had this young lad who they had high hopes for called Nathan, but he was Quango. He weren't coming through, so they needed somebody else. Said he just hadn't performed.
So he's fast like the cat, trap a bag of sand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Said he was really quick, but he couldn't trap a medicine ball in desert.
No. Oh mate, do you know how many years it took me ages just to actually control a bloody ball? It took me like 15 bloody years.
That's because every time you tried to control it, you did a hop, skip, and a jump into the sand pit.
My mum would have been pleased. She said, that's where he gets it from. So.
Good.
Crazy.
Oh no, but
crazy good times.
So how did you find it when you went on loan to Maidenhead? That's obviously a big shock.
It was good. It was good. A great learning curve. I scored on my debut there, and then played well. To be fair, we were fighting relegation at the time, I think.
In what league was that then? Would that have been the conference or one Southern Conference?
Ryman Premier.
Right. Okay.
So God knows.
What's that Evo stick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar to that. Yeah.
Did it toughen you up or not?
Yeah, definitely. Jesus. Like the thing is, I'd already had a taste of non-league football anyway because I was on. Like I said, I was at Wycombe Town, and when I was 14, I made my reserve team debut for them, men's. So, and I remember the captain there, he said, look, whatever you do, just run away from everyone. He said, don't get near anyone because you end up in the stands. And we played a team called Burnham, and it was a boggiest pitch. I mean, these days, the game would have got called off. Boggiest pitch. And I played really well. But so I already had a taste of it. So when I went to Maidenhead, I was a better player, more developed, understood the game more, timing my runs and stuff. And they all said, I had Chris Ferdinand, Rio Ferdinand's cousin was there. And he looked after me. He would pick me up and stuff. And then he just gave me loads of advice, just don't get in a tussle with players. You
got to see it coming. See it coming.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's one thing that stuck with me. I now ride tackles really well. And throughout my career, I learned to do that. And Kevin Dillon said the same thing. He said, look, you need to ride a tackle well, otherwise you can end up with a broken leg. You need to, obviously, like you said, jump, make the most of it, learn how to fall properly. And, you kind of learn that through it. And it, playing in the non-league system, it just toughens you up. I just wish that more players these days, young kids these days, go out to the clubs like that and even take the step down. When I've spoken to players in the past, I'm saying, look, there's no harm doing it. You're still under contract. I mean, some of these lads have got 2-3 year deals. I said 1 year or half a season at somewhere, you're going to learn a lot more than you would do playing under 23 football. I mean, back in the day, it was just reserves. It was youth team, reserves, then first team. But now it's youth team, under 23s, first team. And before you know it, you could be 25 years old making your first team appearance for the club.
Yeah. We've just had a lad come to Alty who's been at United for maybe 17 years.
It's crazy.
And he come into non-league and he thought he was just going to walk into the team. Yeah. But he couldn't get a sniff. All he was used to was getting it, passing it. And that's all he did in training. Looked really good.
Who's that, Jordan?
Charlie Scott is called.
Okay. Charlie Scott.
Our sponsors actually did a story on him. That's where I read it from, and I thought, no way.
Yeah.
He come to us, he looked amazing, but he wouldn't do the ad. He didn't need to do it in United's youth team, so he didn't do it for us. Yeah. He should have been able to play for Altrincham, but he just didn't do the work.
I think the big thing is with young lads and scholars now, or even young pros, they think that going down to an Evo stick or even a Conference North club, they think that their under 23s is a better standard, but it's not. You get an Alty or a Chester, if they played against an under 23s team, they'd batter them 4 or 5-0.
Yeah,
lads don't realise that.
The good thing about under 23s is you're playing at training grounds that pitches are fantastic. you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So everything's there. It's set up for you to become almost the perfect model. But ultimately, when it comes down to players who need to pay bills and pay for their mortgages and rent and car finance and insurance and all that stuff that you learn in under 23s goes out the window, because if you do something wrong and you're continually doing something wrong in the changing room, someone's going to kick you at the backside. So you got to learn quick. It's not fun anymore. Well, I shouldn't say fun, not fun, but it's not a hobby anymore. It's not something that you kick about with your mates anymore. It's your job. This is your job. So, and I learned that quick. And the sooner you learn it, and I've played with players that are a million times technically better than what I've ever been. And I'm just so grateful that I've had the career that I've had. But I look at these players and I think, wow, like you should be playing Champions League football. The ability that you have is absolutely phenomenal. And there's tons of players like that, but they just don't have the motivation. As soon as someone gets on their back about making a mistake that's cost the team, they fall into their shell, and it's like the whole world's against me. And before you know it, they're nowhere to be seen.
Out of football.
Yeah. As soon as you realise that you have your individual brilliance, and to get the best out of you, you need to do what's best for the team, because the team will bring you along and they will push you on to making that step higher. We've all seen players in our time that are better than the level that we're at, but they, for them to grow better, they have to grow. They have to let the team help them get to that point.
Yeah,
that's not all about that. That's it. If that makes sense.
So how did you take it when you played for England under 20s, didn't you?
Yeah.
Scored 2 in one game.
Yeah.
Never got a call. Never got a call back.
No. So what had happened was, so I was eligible to play for the under 20s, and then my birthday was coming up to 4th of May at the end of the season. There was an under 20s tournament in UAE that summer. So I'm thinking, right, I'm ready, like not going on holiday anywhere. Well, mind you, I had twin daughters who were, baby daughters then. So, I couldn't plan holiday, whatever, because I was thinking, right, I'm going to this tournament. And then I get the call saying, look, you can't go because it's under 20s. And I was like, oh, that's a shame, isn't it, really? I'm glad I didn't, because I think they lost every game. And I think they got battered by Spain or France like 10-0. It was ridiculous. So I'm glad I didn't. Yeah. So I'm glad I didn't go. But
can we just go back to that? So you was under 20 and you had twin daughters as well.
Yeah.
How was that? Oh my God. How was that?
It was a blur. I mean, they're going to be 18 this year. So it was a blur. Yeah. I mean, they were tight. They were premature when they were born, and everything was just a complete blur. Like, to think about, like, now having my youngest, I think about things like, Lola and Beth used to do this, they used to do that.
Did it drive you on to do better in football? Because obviously you knew that if you did make it, the money was there as well.
Yeah, at the time I was on next to nothing really. At the time, well, I shouldn't say next to nothing, but you put a roof over the head and put food in their tummy and clothes on their back. It was definitely tough, but it gave me the incentive thinking, I wasn't going out neither. So, I couldn't afford to go out for a start.
Yeah.
And,
so you didn't get sucked into that kind of lifestyle then as a young footballer.
No, it does you a favour, that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And like James Harper come to the club as well. So he come from Arsenal. So what he was eating, he was a fitness freak, absolute fitness freak. And we had Steve Sidwell as well. So they were fitness freaks. Harps didn't drink neither. So, and I kind of took that on, and I thought to myself, well, I'm not getting mixed up in, what they're doing. Even though when we did have a Christmas do, I was probably one of the drunkest there as well.
Yeah, that's because you've not been drinking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, literally a couple hours. Oh, seriously. But you know, having my daughters, it would definitely spurred me on to thinking, look, I need to make. Well, it was in the back of my mind, really, that I need to make this work. But I've always been a firm believer. What will be, and as long as you work hard at it, and as long as you show great attitude, people are always going to take you on. And that's the way that I've been throughout my career.
Brilliant. Because you went through like a couple of loan spells then. I think after Maidenhead you went to Swansea. That's obviously in the league. Was that good? Eye opener.
It was good as well. So so I scored my first professional goal.
Yes,
and Swansea at the Vetch. Oh my God! So that ground, we used to get changed there every day. And
it must be the old one.
The old,
the old
Mingen.
One, yeah, it was not the best, but I remember coming into training and I'm thinking, what the hell is this on the floor? And there's cockroaches all the way through the corridor into all the change rooms, like littered, absolutely lit. I've never seen. First of all, I'd never seen a cockroach in real life. Right? And
in England, I've never seen one in England.
Oh my God! Next thing you know, I'm seeing millions. Millions everywhere. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So the exterminators have been in the day before, obviously done their bit, but no one bothered to like clean up the dead cockroaches all on the floor and that. So we're having to change on the benches and everything. I'm thinking this is absolute carnage. But it was, like I said, it was an eye opener. Great people. Lovely people, actually. The people who looked after me in the B&B.
Down in the valleys.
Yeah, so the guy was called Mel Nurse. Yeah, I think he used to play for the Swansea. Quite famous, I think. He had owned a B&B, so I stayed there. The problem was I must have put on about stone in weight because all I was having every morning was fry-ups every morning. Fried toast, like everything. So when I went back to Reading, when I went back to Reading, I weighed like 12 stone. I was like, I've never weighed 12 stone in my life before. And then I thought, oh God, I've kind of overdone it. But it was an eye opener. They wanted me to stay there till the end of the season. But at the time, I said to him, look, I need to go back to Reading to sort out what's going to happen with my contract because I'm up at the end of the year. And so I went back there and, funny enough, Reading offered me a new deal, and then they shipped me off on loan to Cheltenham, where we got promoted from Division 3 on the playoffs.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah. And then you had a little loan spell at Wycombe, which obviously
signed.
Yeah, and then end up signing for him. So that must have been good.
Yeah. So what had happened was I'd had a really good season with Reading and played for England. We got to the playoff semi-final, but I got sent off anyway. That's another story.
Was that for a straight red?
Yeah, it wasn't even a bad challenge. Just
a bad touch.
No, it's tackle. No, do you know? It must have been actually. Probably was. It probably was. Yeah. I think the lads, Paul Butler, he had quite a big touch, or I did, and then I've lunged in, and it wasn't really that bad. To be fair, it would have been a yellow, but it was a straight red. I was gutted. Anyway, so the following season, Alan Pardew ended up leaving for West Ham. And I was like, oh my God, like, because I was thinking this next season here, like I'm going to feature more, I'm going to start more. And Alan Pardew said that. He said, you're going to feature more, you've done really well, really proud of you. You've been playing out wide, because I wanted to play up front. So like for the reserves, I was playing up front. For the first team, I was playing out wide. And he said, look, I want you to play out wide, you're going to do well. And then he ended up leaving. And I was like, I can't believe this happened. Like, so Steve Coppell comes in. So I'm like, okay, right, let's give this a crack. And he signed a whole load of players, and I was just pushed to one side. I was travelling and being in the stands, not even making the bench. And I said to him, look, I just thought I've gone 10 steps forward. I've gone like 2 or 3 steps forward. I'm taking 10 back. So I went into his office and said, look, Gaffer, I want to go on loan. I need to play football. I want to progress and do it from there. So I ended up going on loan to Wycombe.
How old are you now?
So I'm 38 now.
No,
So,
no.
well, sorry.
In the story.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was 38 back then.
Fucking hell.
Sorry, I'm not even
You've
38
aged
yet.
well.
Yeah, I'm not even 38 yet. Oh God, I must have been 20.
It's hard.
21,
As soon as I
21,
try and
22.
I remember his goal.
Yeah, 22-ish.
21.
Like
Yeah, something
21,
like
20.
Yeah, 21, 22.
And you went to, you was playing under Tony Adams there.
Yeah, so he took me on loan, and I actually went back to Reading when my loan finished. Wycombe obviously wanted to sign me, but I spoke to Steve Coppell, and he said to me, he said, like, you know, you've done really, really well on loan there. Well done, because at the time Wycombe were bottom of the league, and pretty much down anyway. So Steve Coppell said, you've done really well. You know, if you want to stay, you know, stay. So I was like, really? Like, okay, all right. So I remember I spoke to my dad. I told my dad at the time, and then Nicky Hammond said to my dad, said, no, Steve Coppell doesn't want you. So I was like, I'm like, what's going on here? And then I said to my dad, I said, look, sorry, I'll leave. I'll go and sign for Wycombe. Wycombe took over my contract, so I wasn't losing out on any money, and they paid a fee for me, and I was like, fair enough. So I went there, and it worked out really well for me. So it was.
Yeah, you did well there.
Yeah, really well. Obviously, we've seen all the all like the video clips of Tony Adams and his sessions and things like that. Is that how were they? How were they?
He was a character. Do you know what? You know, bless him. I learned a lot under him, to be fair, and he was trying to mould me into the next Thierry Henry. That's literally what he wanted me to do. He was saying to me,
pace and finish.
Exactly. He said, like, you're playing up front. I mean, my first game I played really well for him, and like through coaching and stuff, he wanted me to play. He said he wanted me to model my game around Thierry Henry. You know, I always like to pull onto that left side. So did Henry, but Henry was cutting on his right. On the right hand side, I didn't really do it. I just still knocked it and run. So, and that's just basically my best skill that I've ever had. But he just said his training sessions were interesting, really interesting. And I think when I first went there, his thing was diet. You know, the Arsene Wenger side of thing. He wanted to mould that, but the problem was you were dealing with Division 2, League 1 players at the time that were unhappy, didn't like the way he did things, and he didn't really have the change room on side. So he was kind of losing the battle from that, really. But he was a great guy.
Right, Jordan. Obviously, you being a current player, have you any worries about going back to playing in the next few months?
Worries as in not being fit enough? No. Worries about getting started? No. Like, if they wanted me to play tomorrow, I would. I don't need another pre-season. But obviously, it's just about the safety of other people and stuff like that, isn't it? Like, our right back Den's, his missus is pregnant, so he's not going to be able to play, and there's just all sorts of stuff like that that would prevent us from playing. So you've got to think about that more than just wanting to get back and playing, I think.
Yeah, fair play. Well,
yeah,
no, I agree, mate. There's, you've got to think about safety first. But obviously, there's plenty more about the thoughts of other players from all the other leagues in the Athletic, which is well worth a read.
theathletic.co.uk / I had trials once.
That's the biggest thing for a manager. You've got to get the lads on side, haven't you? You've got to get them on board, whether it's like whether you get them all to buy into your philosophy, or if it's not working, that's it. Like, you live or die by that, don't you? You either stick to it, stick by your principles, or you think, right, well, this group of players, it's not going to work. I need to change. But obviously, we all know I wouldn't have expected Tony Adams to change his ways.
No, he didn't. So what he did for the following season, there were a lot of players out of contract. So the following year, he just brought in everyone that he wanted, and a lot of them were young lads, like Mike Williamson. He still kept the likes of myself, Matt Bloomfield, Roger Johnson, Danny Sender, Yeah, they were pretty much Frank Talia as well. But he wanted to
Is
bring
William
in
still playing?
Mike Williams. He is now, I think he's manager at Gateshead.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I
Yes,
played
yeah,
against him.
yeah. And then Russell Martin, who's managing out MK Dons, he signed. He was coming through the youth team, I think, or he signed. I can't remember, long time ago. But so he moulded it in, and we started off all right in League Two, because that was the first year it changed to Championship, League One, League Two. And we started off all right, and then we blipped, and then Tony Adams left. He said, it's not working out, and he ended up leaving, and then John Gorman come in, and things changed. I mean, no disrespect to Tony Adams, his ways of thinking were probably more advanced than what us players were used to. Yeah. So, but his nature was, he was very kind-hearted. He was very. He'd give you a lot of confidence in that, and he wouldn't really bollock players, but it was strange seeing the Tony Adams at Arsenal and hearing the stories, and obviously that was pre-drinking, and then obviously after, when he's got himself clean, he changed mentally, he changed away and became a better person for it. And I got along with him really well, and but it just wasn't what Wycombe needed at the time. And when John Gorman come in, it changed. It went to not so much thinking about strategy and philosophy stuff. He came in, took over the team, made football fun, and we just excelled. And I think that first season we just missed out on the playoffs. We should have finished in the playoffs, but the following season was even better. But unfortunately, I left later on at the beginning of the season.
You ended up scoring a lot of goals. It was 30. Well, it says 39 in 68. Obviously, better than 1 and 2.
It was actually 44.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, 44 and 80 something. That was including like cup games and stuff. So
brilliant.
It just worked out well. I think that first full season I scored like 3 hat-tricks that season, and 22 goals in that season. It's just dreams come true, and then people were like starting to take note.
Was it one of them where they were just anything you did just went in?
It was
just like
it was
ass, whatever.
Yeah, it would come off my shin. Everything just seemed to click, and then it just gave you confidence after that, and you just felt like I was going into every game thinking, I'm going to score today. I'm disappointed when I don't, but yeah, exactly. It's like, it's just, it was great. And then it carried on the following season. But what happened through pre-season, I'd made a bit of a name for myself. And then so the wheels in motion start coming in, like Millwall put a bid in, but it was nothing. It was like 50 grand or something. And then John Gorman was like, look, don't want you to go. I remember in the summer, I had talks with the chairman at the time. Not the chairman, sorry, the manager, the MD. He basically wanted to take my goal bonus out of my contract instead. He said, I don't believe in goal bonuses, so I want to take that out of your contract. And I sat there with my agent and said, look, it's not really going to happen. I'm not going to sign a new deal if you're going to do things like that. And I was ambitious, and still am, but I was ambitious anyway. And I was always used Wycombe as a stepping stone to try and get back to the Championship from where I come from with Reading. So it was that following season, I scored like 13 goals in 13 games. And, I went to bigs coming from Cardiff, and it wasn't enough money for the club. So it got rejected, and I wanted to go. Sheffield Wednesday come in. I went to Sheffield Wednesday up there and had a meeting with, what's the manager? Used to be Plymouth manager, Paul Sturrock.
Yeah.
It didn't go down well. Sat in the office with him, and I didn't like the vibe. I loved the club. Walking out at Sheffield Wednesday, Hillsborough, like it was played there for Reading. And I thought, wow, what a ground! But my
just didn't click with the manager.
Yeah, I mean, look, the money was right. The money was right personally for me. It was more than enough, and I got family up in Sheffield anyway, so it was handy. Club's fantastic, but um, yeah, I just didn't get a vibe. I just didn't get a right vibe from the manager. I just thought he was kind of putting me down, and I thought, well, I'm not going to come and play for a guy that wants to, in theory, wanted to put me down really. So I came out
on the first day as well.
Yeah, so their game on that day was on Sky Sports. So they were going to show me sitting in the stand at this game, and we weren't there. We left. I said, no, take me home. On the way back, Gary Megson was on the phone.
But did he show 2 empty chairs?
Yeah, I was like, no, we weren't there. We were meant to be sitting in the box. Do you know what? The people were lovely though. They really did, sell the club to me, but I just didn't feel like Paul Sturrock was the one that was going to progress my career. And I just didn't feel comfortable with it, taking that, because it was great having, when you have all these clubs wanting you're in the driver's seat, the ball's in your court, you can pick and choose. Yeah. And it was, I'd never had that. So it was fantastic to have.
I am, mate.
But it was great to have that opportunity and, opportunity to turn someone down. And, but it worked out well. And Gary Megson was a manager at Forest at the time. So he was on the phone to my agent saying, don't sign, for Sheffield Wednesday. We're going to offer you this and we're going to pay Wycombe this. And what I didn't know is that Wycombe had already literally agreed the fee. And I went back to Wycombe, spoke to John Gorman. He's like, you don't have to go. I want you here, and it was fantastic. Genuinely, he did not want me to go, and I was like, should I sit it out? Should I sit it out? My dad didn't want me to go. My dad literally saw Steve Bruce. He was on a golf day in France, and he saw Steve Bruce. And Steve Bruce is like telling him, "Don't tell your son not to sign. I'm coming for him in January. We can't sign players like in November or something. I can't remember the ruling into it, but he was like,
where was he at then?
Sign. He was at Birmingham.
Right. Okay.
So, but obviously, I was on my way up to Nottingham Forest, looked around, and when I saw the ground there, I thought, nah, this is me. This is me. Like, I'm coming here. And and then obviously, but I think Birmingham were in the Prem at the time, I think, and they signed DJ Campbell instead of me.
So how did you end up going on loan first?
To Forest?
To Forest, yeah.
So the way it worked out was I could only sign on loan, but I couldn't sign for them. So I signed on loan and signed. I'd already signed a contract from January, so they had to get me there on loan and over. Yeah, so pre-contract.
Right. Right. Okay.
Yeah. But no one could. So even if it went horribly wrong in those from November to January, I was still a Forest player in January. So
that's what I was wondering. Yeah, because that's a lot of pressure having all that, and then you imagine if you'd have went on loan and been minging.
I didn't even think about it at the time.
And they would have pulled the plug.
Yeah, to be fair, like Forest weren't doing well at the time. There was so much politics going on. Players didn't get along with Gary Megson. Megson didn't get along with some of the players. Change room was very, very, very cliquey. They'd just been relegated as well from the Championship as well, so into League One. So there was players on big money that basically they were trying to ship off. I mean, Marlon King was there, but he had already gone on loan somewhere else. I can't remember if it was Watford or something. But yeah, it was very cliquey, and it was the first time I've been in the change room that was so destructive. Don't get me wrong, the lads that I did play with were fantastic boys, but it just didn't gel. We were all individuals. We all had our own agendas.
Did you enjoy your time there?
Yeah,
because your scoring record was pretty good.
It was good as well.
You got promoted as well, didn't you?
Yeah. So, but I started getting a lot of injuries, and I ruptured my medial ligament So that was the first time I'd ever had a big injury, bad injury as well. But that following year, that I did my middle twice that season, and we got to the playoffs with Yeovil and obviously famously lost. And then the following year we got promoted, but I'd had issues with my back, my hamstrings, but I managed to get through it all. And it was absolutely, do you know what? That year, getting promoted the way we did on the final day of the season was incredible. Absolutely. Best feeling I had, that the roar from the fans, I'll never forget.
Did you play in it?
Yeah, so like the last game of the season played, we won 3-2. 3-2 against Yeovil. And yeah, final day, because we were like fourth in the league, so we needed Doncaster to lose and Carlisle to lose. And funny enough, Donny were playing Cheltenham, and Cheltenham needed to win the game to stay up, and they ended up winning. And we're like, as the game's going on, towards the end of the game, like it was the fans.
Could you hear the crowd? Were the crowd telling you what was happening?
It was just, I can't explain it. It was just noise, like loud noise, like cheering, everything. I'm thinking it rumbled through your whole body, like 32,000 fans going absolutely mad. And you can see them coming down to the front, wanting to like run onto the pitch and that. And I remember Terrell Forbes, who played for Yeovil, he said to me, "Oh, you know you're going up, don't you?" And I was like, no, surely not. Because I'm thinking, well, hold on a minute. Surely Donny cannot be losing. They've been one of the best teams in the league. Carlisle have been very, very good. I'm thinking, how are these two, like, surely Donny's not losing to Cheltenham. He
must have been big odds.
Yeah, massive. And then the final whistle blew and it just erupted, and I was just like, oh my God, I was crying.
My God.
I've never cried.
Like, mate, I had to admit, I'm a softie at heart. So
yeah, but you've got to in them circumstances, haven't you?
Yeah, it was just magical in that, and it was fantastic. Yeah, it's always going to be something I'm always going to cherish, and I wish I had it more often with Forest.
Yeah,
I wish we made that step up, because we had the players and we had the manager, but it just didn't happen.
And it was all topped off by a trip to Miami.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Well, I don't know. You tell me.
What do you mean?
What trip was that?
Look at him checking.
No, I'm trying to
checking the shoulder.
That was my derby days. That was yeah. That was.
Oh, was it? So when the highs of your promotion, yeah.
Mm.
But then when you went to Derby, you went through a bit of a bad patch, didn't you? Was it hard to go to Derby because of the rivalry or something?
It was tough, but what people got to understand is that it was the only thing I had on the table, and Forest done me dirty. You know? They done me dirty, which people don't see. People just think that I went there for Derby to the money. You know, I ain't gonna lie, the money was fantastic. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, but ultimately, Forest, when we lost the game to Swansea, literally everyone all got the handshake from the chairman, which lovely guy, Nigel Doherty, absolutely probably one of the best chairmans I've ever played under. And he was going around, you know, consoling everyone, you know, shaking my hand and everything. And then the chief executive was coming around at the same time, saying, you know, "Oh, unlucky, doing the same thing. Unlucky, see you next season." Come to me, and I'm thinking, right, what's happening with me? Like, you know, you're saying to these players, see you next season, speak to you in the summer, blah, blah, blah. Come to me, he said, you know, unlucky, all the best. I sat there, I'm emotional anyway, and I'm thinking, wow, is that just my last game for Forest? Because I hadn't made my decision about Derby. It was there in the background about it. And, you know, lads are saying to me, you can't go there, they hate you and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. Anyways, it comes in the summer. I'm waiting for Forest to phone me. I've not heard anything from Billy Davis, but then I hear that Billy's job's at threat. So I'm thinking, wow, do I want to be at Forest without Billy Davis? And I wasn't too sure. Anyways, talks will happen with Derby. I'm still waiting for Forest to phone me. They've got my number, everything. The call don't come. So I'm like, right. And Derby are pushing me now. And I'm thinking, and I said to my dad, I said, Dad, what other clubs? He said, Burnley are interested. So I had talks with Burnley, never heard back from them again. Millwall were interested. Talks with Millwall, never heard back from them again. And it wasn't a money thing, because I was very happy to take the money that they were offering. And it was a lot less than what Derby were offering, and it was less than what Forest were paying me at the time. So
it's going to money.
The thing is, though, it was ideal because I had 3 kids that, you know, that they lived with their mum, and I wanted to be close to them. And most importantly, being a father, like, you know, Gaz, it was, you know, that was the first thing in my mind. I want to be there for my kids. Derby just ticked every single box. Like Clough was saying, you're going to play this and that. Anyways, I signed the deal, and then I get a note basically saying from the post office that you got a letter, you need to go and pick it up. So I go to the post office, go and pick it up, and it's got a Forest badge on it. I open it up, it's a contract offer, and it's a 60% pay cut from what I'm on. And that basically what they've done is they've made it out to the press, to the fans, that they've offered me a contract and I've turned it down. Now, I didn't see this contract until I signed for Derby, and I didn't have a phone call. Like, you don't do business like that unless you're trying to sting someone over.
And a 60% reduction.
If they want you, they're going to bail you out there.
Exactly. So the thing is, though, if they really wanted me, and, you know, I didn't really want to leave, but I wasn't going to go there calling, asking for a contract just because of what had happened after the game. Because I was kind of like, well, up yours. Like, if you're going to treat me like that, I've been here 5.5 years. I've got us promoted out of League One. You know, well, I've been part of it. You know, I've been part of 2 more playoff runs, but you're going to do me like that. And I'm thinking to myself, look, I ain't calling to you. Like, if you want me, you want me. Like, I'm not begging for a contract. I'm in my prime. I'm not begging. But the problem was, when I went to Derby, I was carrying an underlying injury with my groin, and that was the worst injury I ever had. Horrific.
It never works out.
Wow, what happened, Dave? What, did you just keep reoccurring? Missed a lot of games?
So basically, when we at Forest, before we played Swansea, I got injured in a shooting practice. My groin, I felt it pop, but it wasn't the muscle. It was like the attachment in my hip. Something went right because it was grinding. I couldn't. One day I'd wake up, feel great. I go to walk, and it was agony. Anyways, we get to the playoff game, and I miss the first leg. But I've started back training, but it's still not right. Still not right. So Billy Davies says to me, he said, "Look, I'm going to start you against Swansea in the second leg." And I said, "Billy," he said, "How fit are you?" I said, "I could do a job, but it's I can do a job. I could do a job, but it's not 100%. He said, "I don't care." I said, "I need someone to stretch the defence." Anyways, I end up having an injection.
I don't care. You're fast. Get on there.
Yeah, seriously, I end up having an injection. This is the most painful place I've ever had an injection. Doctor comes in. I've got my legs up in the air, like like a woman who's about to go and have a checkup. So basically got my legs up. The doctor's holding my legs up in the air. He's got this long needle, and he goes, right, can you lift up your balls? So lift up my balls, and he sticks a needle right underneath them.
Oh my God.
I was like,
that's just made me hurt.
Lewis McGugan's like walked into the room like, what the hell's going on here? And all of that's like a physio, like Steve-O's in there, like thinking, like, get out, everyone's get out. And I was just like, so painful, but it worked. So I ended up starting the game, and but it got to 60 minutes. I put a crossing for Marcus Tugguy, and groin had gone. And I was like, oh no, I can't carry on anymore. I had it taped up. I was wearing cycling shorts, compression cycling shorts, so everything was all held together. But it just didn't last. So also when I went to Derby, it did the medical, passed the medical, had scans, everything, passed the medical, but pre-season happened and my groin went again. And then I made my debut against Forest. I came off the bench and my groin was not right. We had to come in on a Monday and do a session, and it still wasn't right. And it was like that all through the season. It wasn't until the last week of the season that I actually started feeling back to normal. And then by that time, the damage had already been done.
They didn't bring you back off against your old team, though, did you? Did they? You lasted the game out?
No.
Right,
I finished. I did well. We won the game. 1-0. So it was interesting. Getting booed and abused and that, but get used to it. Really.
How did you find that? Did you find that really hard, like mentally, or what?
Yeah, I did find it hard. I'm not going to lie. I think I was on Twitter at the time, and I remember a fan.
Yeah, get off that if you move in there.
But I was arguing with fans on Twitter, and I'm thinking to myself, what am I doing? This guy, what topped it off with this guy? Basically, I was walking down the Trent with my kids, and he said, I think it was actually with my youngest son at the time, well, my oldest boy now. They said, if I ever see you walking down the Trent with your dog and your kids again, I'll chuck your kids in the river and that. And I just thought, and I was getting death threats as well. And I just thought, I can't be bothered with it, so I'll come off it and that. You're in a losing situation.
Which is ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? It's a game of football, and it's like that's what fans don't realise that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've just gone through it all. That you basically had no other options to move to Derby. You had your children. You wanted to stay local. You'd been offered a 60% reduction in wage from your home club. If somebody said, I don't know how to phrase it, but say a normal person had a job and then he got an offer for a rival company, and this new company said, we're going to offer you this money. Just because it's football, you've got to do what's best for yourself and your family. But fans,
the old company won't say we're going to chuck your kids in the river, would they?
No, we're going to dock your wages 60% as well. Everyone would just go, nah, I'm off. I've no loyalty towards you. But fans just don't.
But I didn't know that. I didn't know that at the time. They were going to dock my wages because they didn't even give me a contract. So they didn't offer me a contract from what I knew until it come out. I was just like, thanks, cheers.
Thanks anyway.
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous, isn't it? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, fans can be absolutely amazing, but a small minority of them can be absolutely disgusting. I mean, I walked through town once, and this girl, and I was at Wycombe at the time, so I was out shopping with one of my daughters, getting some holiday stuff, and this girl walks past me and starts going bear like that to me, you dirty sheep shagger and all this, and I'm thinking, hold on a minute, how many years has it been since I've been at Derby? I'm playing for Wycombe. I'm playing for Wycombe Wanderers, my second spell, and I turned around to her and I said, excuse me, I said, what do you think you're doing? And then her mum was there. Her mum walks over. And I'm thinking, this girl's getting both. So I gave her both barrels and said, have some goddamn respect. I'm out shopping with my kids. If you want to abuse me, do it in your own time. Do it. If you see me on my own, do it, whatever, that's fine. But not with my kids. Don't do that stuff in front of my kids. And that, because one of them at the time did boxing, and she'll probably box you up anyway. So, but at the end of the day, don't do that. When I'm with my kids, when I'm with my family, treat me with respect as a human being.
Yeah.
If I'm on my own, it's annoying, but I can take it on my own, but not in front of my kids. I don't want to see my kids do that and witness that, because I've witnessed a lot throughout my career, and especially my older three, they've witnessed a lot. They've seen the abuse, and I don't stand for it. You just wouldn't do it. I'd necessarily. I don't get it. What I don't get It's going to a football match. It's supporting your team. Yeah, you can get a bit irate saying, "Oh God, like he's made a mistake for the goal, or he's missed a glorious chance, or someone's misplaced a pass," and you'd be like, "Oh, like that." But like, I don't get how you can go from that then to go home on your computer or go on your phone or whatever,
Start abusing everyone.
Yeah.
just abuse the player. Like, I don't get, like, seriously, you've got to have something else to do in your time rather than doing that. Could you imagine the amount of time good you could do in life?
Put all that energy into doing something good.
Exactly.
Ridiculous.
I don't get it. I like to, when I watch a football game, like, I don't really support, and I support my hometown club, Reading, and I support Wycombe really, but I don't tend to. I go to football matches. I like to watch football, and I like to appreciate. I think it's maybe because doing my coaching badges and stuff, like I appreciate it more, and I don't. I mean, growing up as a kid, I was a Man United fan because of my dad. So then as a kid, it's like, yeah, United this, United that, whatever. But as you get older, and especially playing in the game, I just appreciate football more and appreciate players, watching different types of players. And I think that's one thing that the youth of today, if we could pass that knowledge on and say, look, just watch this player, watch what they do if you want to become a professional footballer.
So is that what you want to do, coaching?
And looking into it, it's something that, before all this, coronavirus and all that stuff, it was, it's there. I was doing my trying to finish off my B at the time, but it's all stopped now, obviously. So whenever that starts up again, I have to get back onto it. But I like to see those other avenues, especially in the game. I want to stay in the game. I enjoy it. I love football, even though at times I've thought,
hated it
anymore.
Yeah.
Did you? What did you wear? What did you learn off Paul Ince at Blackpool? Oh wow! Okay.
No comment.
Oh, really? So,
What about Dickov at Donny?
Great guy.
We've had him on. Dickov.
Yeah, loved him.
Paul.
Loved him. What I learned from him is never seen someone smoke so many cigarettes in such a short
I
space
thought
of
he
time.
smoked.
yeah.
I knew he smoked.
Oh my god!
It came into the studio and he was thinking, "Oh God, it stinks of fags in here. Like, surely you can't smoke, this athlete." But then, obviously, well, you do get told it does stunt your growth, so maybe. He's only about 5'4", isn't he?
Oh mate, so when we used to go out for warm-ups and stuff, he used to smoke in the shower, and the kit man at the time used to have the old air freshener and that. He used to turn the showers on and have the air freshener on and everything. Oh my god, he used to come back in from the warm-up, and you think,
That's quality. That.
by the time you go home and like wife said to me, "You've been smoking?" It's like, no. It was funny. Do you know what? It was fantastic because he gave me an opportunity at the time where I'd fallen out of football completely and wanted to hang my boots up. He gave me the belief and the opportunity to start, look, Tyson, you can still do it, and I finished off top goal scorer that season and got player of the year. So things turned around. Ever since then, ever since then, I just thought to myself, look, I can still do it. It's not. I had to
more of a mental thing, innit, than a body thing.
I went through a phase where I was blaming managers for not playing me, and that was the wrong attitude to have. Like Nigel Clough, who weren't playing me. And I never asked the question, why are you not playing me? I never looked at myself and asked myself the question, why am I not playing in that team? Am I giving myself the best opportunity of getting into that first team and getting ahead of everyone else? Because I was scoring goals, I was coming off the bench and I was doing well and I was playing well. But was I actually giving myself, diet-wise, living like correctly, did I have the right attitude? Was I turning up to training early, going out doing my bits in the gym or going out early on the pitch? Was I doing those things? Was I doing it after training? Was I trying to make a statement and saying, look, I'm trying to improve as a player and give myself the best opportunity? When I asked myself those questions, the answer to every single one of them was no. I'm not giving myself the best opportunity. And that wasn't until I went to Doncaster and realised that well, I'm not giving myself the best opportunity. And
so did you start doing that extra work again? Because you would have been in your 30s then, wouldn't you?
Now the
30s.
problem that I had, so the problem I had was recovery time. I started to notice that my recovery was not as good as what it was. So when I played a 90-minute game on Saturday, Sunday, when I was coming into training on Monday, I was as stiff as a plank. Like, I couldn't move. I was clocking up 10k and then like 2.5, 3k high intensity running, and I was always top of the high speed sprint distance. So I was sprinting literally every time the ball was going into the channel. I was sprinting. Every time I got the ball, I was trying to run past someone. It was a constant sprint after sprint after sprint. So no wonder when I was coming on Monday, I'm looking at the data and I'm thinking, no wonder like I can't move. I couldn't even get out of bed in the morning, let alone drive from Nottingham to Doncaster. I was just like, I don't know how I'm doing it. So the issues came with I could not stay out too much. Like the manager, first of all, Dickie would be like, "Nah, Tyson, come in. You're not doing extra." So I'd be in the gym doing what my program and stuff, my core and that. But he still doesn't stop you from. Yeah, still. Just chilling out. But it was
coming all this umbrella from each shower while I have a fag.
But you know what? He was a great guy, and I had a great time at Donny. Just shame that it finished away. I mean, when Dickie left and Darren Ferguson come in, Darren really, really like put his stamp on the team, and Darren Ferguson was like one of the top managers, coaches that I regard very, very highly, because I actually started learning more under him than I had done from 4 or 5 previous managers. And
in what respect?
In tactical elements,
right,
like reading the game more. He just made it, I can't explain, but it just clicked in my head. Like, do you know what? He's right there. And it happened with Billy Davis. Actually, with Billy Davis, I didn't realise how good he was until I left. Until we parted ways. About how good he was. I mean, I knew his attention to detail was crazy. But coming away from it, looking at it and thinking, do you know what, Billy, you were right in what you were saying. Everything about games, about players, about strategies, everything. You were right. Diet as well. I think to myself, do you know, when I see you or speak to you next, I say, Billy, do you know, remember in that meeting you said, when you come towards the end of your career or when you finish, you look around there and say, do you know what, I was right. And to this day, I agree with him. So Darren Ferguson was very similar that way, but he wasn't as crazy as Billy. He just did things and you understood. But unfortunately, we still got relegated that year. And to be honest, we had such an unlucky run of games that a bad run. We hadn't won a game in like 17 games in the back end of the season. We got relegated, and then I had to leave. So,
and you ended up going to Scotland after that.
Yeah,
experience. Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure Clark is also a manager in my league now as well.
Is it Blythe Spartans? Is that it?
Blythe, yeah, Blythe. That's it.
Blythe.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Is that Lee? Is that Lee Clark?
Yeah.
That's
no. Hold on. Hasn't he been sacked?
I think he left. He might have gone. I'm sure he's gone to Gateshead or something with Williamson. Is it or Williams? Yeah. It's something like that.
Because he's from up the way. Do you know what? He's got some good stories. He was telling me about his Fulham days and that under Al-Fayed. He was.
Oh yeah.
Great story.
Might have to give him a bell, said.
Yeah.
I will do.
They're cracking as well. Like the money, oh my life. The stuff that he was saying.
Just flying about.
Yeah, he said the money was just flying about. That the way the owners used to look after the lads. like Harrods presents for Christmas and all that stuff, giving it all to the families. But that's something you need to speak to Lee Clark about. But,
Brilliant.
So
yeah,
as far as managers go, where does guest Gareth Ainsworth come?
up the top, up there as one of the top. I have to say John Gorman, Alan Pardew, who obviously gave me my opportunity to play in the first team, and without that, I wouldn't have played for my country. So, and obviously Gareth Ainsworth, just for the fact of what you've got to understand about Gareth is that he gets people to do things that you know, in a way that is right.
He seems like a nice guy.
He's top. Like I said, I recently done an interview for the non-league paper, and I said, you know, if any players come to me and start asking me about Wycombe, the first thing I just say is go, go, because he will make you a better player. I actually, when I went back to Wycombe, I actually became a better player, and that was because of what Gareth had done at the club, and what he continues to do. Is that dressing room is the best change room I'd ever been in. You could come in there on a day and be visibly upset, and there'll always be someone there to put their arm around you and say, look, what's wrong? Let's go and have a chat. Let's talk, you know, what's going on. Some change rooms, you couldn't do that. You couldn't not be emotional, and you couldn't be, you know, yeah, you have your normal dressing room banter, but if you have a problem, everyone in that change room would help you through that problem. Whether that be on the field, off the field, everyone was there together, and that was the way and that comes from the manager, because the manager's bringing players into this philosophy that he has. Is I've got my change room, I've got my generals who will look after the change room and will report back to me if there's any issues or any problems. And the way that even if there's a problem, the manager calls you in. Gareth does it in a way that his man management skills are absolutely probably up there as the best, because he knows how to look after his players. And then what happens is things like this season, you know, albeit if it gets finished or not, the results of what Wycombe have been doing, it doesn't surprise me. When people say to me, oh, like, Wycombe, like, won again, they're like up there. I'm like, it's because it's the togetherness. If you have that togetherness in the change room, that's half your job done. And I see managers want to play pretty football, want to play this, want to play that way. They want to influence. And yeah, that's great. But if you don't have the changing room togetherness, when it comes to the point where your philosophy is not working in the game and you just need to dig in and hoof the ball up the pitch and high energy tactics and get in someone's face and everything, a lot of managers, they can't get out of their players. They'll have one or two or maybe three or four lucky enough to do that. But to have a whole team do that, you know, that's, for me, that's what happens at Wycombe. And that's
brilliant. Brilliant testament for him, that.
Yeah, and also I need to shout out Richard Dobson. Dobbo is his set pieces are phenomenal. The way how hard he works on them. We got out of League Two just on the back of set pieces. It's handy having a player like Akinfenwa. It's handy having a player like that, you know, because he just draws in two or three players around him, and if he's not winning it, someone else is winning it.
Tice, how big is he in real life?
Like, I seen a picture of his arm the other day and I couldn't believe it.
It's ridiculous. Mate, he picked me up once. I felt like a toddler. Seriously, he just held me up like that. He's obviously not tall, but he's just so strong. And
how does he get about the pitch? Like, because he's quite fit though, isn't he?
Do you know what? The reason why it works is because the formation that Wycombe will play. So when I was there, it was me, Bayo, Mikael Smith, or Paris Karen Hall, or Scotty Cashkit. So we had flyers in and around him that would do all his work, but all we needed him to do was either stay on one centre half if we're playing a four at the back, or just occupy the one if it's a free. Just occupy someone and we'll get the ball up to you. and when it ball goes up to him, it sticks. So it's handy. So if we're, say the opposing team's got a corner or a set piece, and we clear it away, and if we leave Bale at the pitch, or like that ball's going to stick, and it gives us time to get up there. But he gets around the pitch, and to be honest, I've played against him, and playing with him, I've seen some of the things. Jesus, I've seen him hold off 3 players. Who does that? Name me a player in top flight. I'll put this out there. Bayo is the best player in what he does. There's no one else like him. There's no one else
Hold
like
up
him.
play. Hold
In a
up play.
professional. Yeah, I don't know. There could be someone out there in Europe like him, but I've never seen someone.
He's a monster.
I've played mostly throughout my career. I've always played with a big target man next to me, and I'll do all the running. But Darius Henderson is strong as an ox. I thought that was probably one of the strongest players that I've played with. But Bayo, Jesus Christ, I'm like, you can't hold off 3 players with one arm. You can't do that. It's not
Who would beat him in an arm wrestle?
Probably his brother. His brother's bigger than him.
No way. No.
His brother's huge. His brother come on our Christmas do, right? And I was like, oh my God, like, how big are you? Seriously, his brother's arms are even bigger. I remember, was it Mark Henry, wrestler?
Yeah. Sweet chocolate or something.
Yeah.
Something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember, but he was he had the elephant on his costume and that.
Yeah, Mark.
Yeah. He'll probably give Bayo a run for his money. But yeah, But you know what? Because the way that Bayo is, you could almost see that is everything all about him. When I first went there, that surprised me. That he is probably one of the nicest guys that I've met in football. He really does. Yeah, he is. He's top guy. He's got a very big personality, but it doesn't overpower in the change room in a way that when you have big characters in change room, that sometimes they can be quite poisonous. Or do you know what I mean? Like, but he's not that. He's very opposite. He's loud and makes his opinion felt, but he's always willing to listen to others. And he's not poisonous neither. He'll never spit a dart at someone, like I've known in the past. I've seen some poison being spit in change rooms, and not nice. But he.
So where are you now, though?
So I'm currently. What do you mean? What
playing? Where are you playing? Yeah, before all this went off.
Notts County, aren't you? And then on loan at Chesterfield.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So I'm currently still on loan at Chesterfield. Loan don't finish until the end of May. So.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
So who would you say? Who's been your best friend in football? Someone have you always kept close to? Someone who you've learnt off?
It's difficult, really, because you come in and out of keeping in touch with players. It's so hard to keep in touch with everyone.
Yeah.
So Chris Cohen, he lives not far away from me, and that's why I bump into him. Well, especially I bumped into him quite a lot actually now, doing our runs and that. But Gareth McCleary, I check on him. I check on players. I rather, instead of wanting to keep in contact with players, rather than badger them every day, I just check in. See how people are. Paul Anderson, Gareth McCleary. And there's not many. It's like when you leave a club, like you guys know, it's hard to keep in contact with everyone.
I was out your best mates, and then you just gone.
Yeah. Within a month of you being at a new team, like you've literally your best mates again with all them, and you forgot about your old ones. It's weird, isn't it?
It's not like malicious. It just happens. Everyone goes through it, especially in this industry, because you are associating with so many. I mean, I don't. You
have to give your new teammates that respect, though, don't you? You have to sort of leave your old ones behind and say, right, I'm with you boys now.
Yeah,
we've got to try and work together.
Yeah, I mean, I still speak to like a couple of lads like from Notts and stuff. You know, I check in with them and speak to them. You know, see how things are going, especially this time, what's going on in the world, and hence why like it's a great opportunity for us players to reach out to someone that we've not spoken to for a while and check that they're all right, check their family's all right, because at one time we all met, a player's parent or wife or girlfriend or their kids, and that said hello to them. So it's good to like check in, but in terms of keeping in touch in the long run, it's pretty difficult.
Yeah, you don't really idea.
What's the what does the future hold then for you? What you fancy going into?
Well, like I've said before, 40 is the age that I want to get to, and I'll reassess what I want to do from there. In the meantime, I do my badges. If something comes about of it, it does. If it doesn't, I'll just keep playing.
Yeah, just keep running.
Yeah, I think
he'd get in your side, wouldn't he, Alty?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you fancy it, Alty.
Yeah, definitely.
We're only a league below you now.
That's all right. I'll take up and off. I mean, obviously, I'm still my contract's up at this season, so see what offers are on the table, see what I get offered. But it's it's definitely. I just want to get to the age of 40, and that'd be like 22 years as a professional footballer. I mean, that's over half my life, really. It's crazy.
Well,
yeah, it's good.
It is if you think about it, like right from the start, where you were going on trial, and you were working as a tree surgeon.
Yeah, right, I was helping out. I wasn't
helping
official.
out.
Yeah, just like my wife said,
the leaf collector.
Yeah, that's what it was. Leaf.
I used to direct the traffic because we used to work in Ealing in London. So we used to travel from Reading into London and that, and I used to get to the the yard at like 4 o'clock in the morning and travel into London. Oh my God, they were tough days.
Directing traffic all day. Come on.
Yep, go on. You just get shouted out. Don't let them through, yeah? There's a log coming.
Stop having a shit then.
Oh, that's another thing. Like to go for a shit, you had to go in the back of the wood chip van. So you couldn't, because you couldn't knock on people's door to say, "Oh, can I use your toilet?" It just, I think for insurance policy, you can't. Yeah, you couldn't do it. So I was like, "Oh my God, I so need I need a shit." And then I sat down at the back of the chippy. What they did, they started lifting the back of the chippy up, didn't they? So I was so like, so I couldn't go in the end, but it was quite funny. It was a great experience, a great life experience. So
it makes you not want to go back, kind of, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely, it definitely is something that I don't want to go back to, but you never know. Football might never come again.
Yeah,
who knows what we're going to do?
Stop saying stuff like that. I'm depressed.
Don't. I just don't think Owley can continue this season. I think with the way that France has ended theirs, the longer it goes
Germany
on,
now. Germany went back to training in some kind of capacity, but now I think they've just been told that there's been a spike again in people catching the virus. So I think they'll go back in lockdown, which is going to scupper it for everyone.
I've seen that France's league have got their lawyers onto FIFA or something, saying that if we're cancelling our league, no other leagues can go on.
Oh, really?
Something like that, yeah, along those lines.
They're right, because what I don't get is that obviously there's been a lot of stories about high-profile players that have been out and having house parties and all this stuff. Now, if I was a Premier League player, I don't feel I wouldn't be happy with that, to be honest, because say you go and play these games behind closed doors, and this person's had done what he's wanted to do and all that, and you stayed at home, stuck to all the rules. Now, if you're come in contact with that player, he has no symptoms, pass it on to you. You don't have any symptoms. You take that home and you pass it on to your wife or your kids, and one of them has an underlying issue. Next thing you know,
it's
that
just
person's
bigger
in
issues,
hospital.
isn't there?
Yeah. Next thing you know, that person's in hospital just because of someone that's done something that they shouldn't have. But you know that you could walk down the road and brush past someone in the supermarket because some people can't abide to the rules in the supermarket because people can't follow bloody arrows.
That's me. That I got bollocked in Asda.
Don't get me started. Do not get me started.
I was in Asda the other day, and some woman was behind me, and she all of a sudden she stopped, turned round, and just started screaming at this woman behind her, saying, "I've told you, keep your effing distance." I was like, oh, and honestly, it went off in Asda. She was screaming.
Brilliant.
And I was like, oh my God. This woman was like, I'm just trying to get the butter.
That's as soon as you walk in Asda as well.
I couldn't believe it. That this woman went like well over the top. It was unbelievable. But I think that's just. I think it's just the pressure that everyone's under, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just crazy. It's just crazy. But I think the sooner the like Premier League and EFL, PFA, FA, whatever, as soon as they just say, look, we can't finish this off. Look, Liverpool deserve to win the league. Like they deserve to win.
Yeah, but just cancel it for crack.
Yeah. Exactly what my dad would say.
You gotta do it.
Yeah. It's got to be finished. It's got to be finished, and then you can move on and you start thinking about next season. But you know, with players' contracts up,
that's the difficult bit. That's the problem.
Yeah.
30th of June, when everyone's contracts are up, what do you do? How do you extend it? How do you? It's just a minefield of.
Sign a 2-year deal like me.
Yeah.
Chilling.
Well done. I just think it's going to be difficult for the players because clubs, like if season restarts again in July, there ain't no player that's going to turn out, because I've heard rumours that clubs are thinking about asking players to play for free. I ain't playing for free.
What if you get injured?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can't do it. Players can't play for free just to help out. Help the club out. At the end of the day, the help needs to come from the powers that be. You know, the EFA, the EFL, and the Premier League. I mean, what annoys me is that I'm seeing. I know it's only media, and you shouldn't believe what you read in the media and stuff. But you know, teams talking about transfer targets, wanting to spend £100 million on players, and I'm thinking, Jesus, like 100 million to like League Two and League One clubs and some Championship clubs and National League. That money, seriously, is much needed, because if a lot of teams like start falling out the leagues and everything, becoming non-existent and that, you know, where are these clubs? Where are these top clubs in the Premier League and the Championship going to be sending their young players off on loan? You've got to look after the community.
Yeah, I think there's got to be some kind of a payment structure given out towards the league, because nobody wants to see the likes of, I don't know, like, I'm only plucking names out of the hat, but you know, like your local teams like Oldham and you know, Rochdale and the National League teams. Like, you don't want them to be.
Exactly. We've already lost Bury, and we're on the brink from losing Bolton, and at the time Notts County as well. So you got to look after these clubs, because as much as they're steeped in history, they have a purpose, and that is the fact of bringing these young players through, and especially loaning players that you don't want at your club as well.
Yeah. Bringing the next Nathan Tyson through. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we're looking for. The thing is, that's why we're not paid the big money in it to make the decisions. Got to leave it up to the guys in charge. But mate, I drew it to an end there. It's been.
I hope you've passed a few hours.
It's been really good.
Definitely. I've still got to do my run, so they're going crack on with that.
Well, I saw a flash of a hairy knee, so I know you're in your shorts already.
How do you know I'm in my shorts? I'm in my boxers.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Next time I'll dress up for you. I'll put the wig on and I'll get the boobs up.
Top man. Look forward to it, mate. Thanks very much for today.
We won't be here then. It's for you too.
Yeah, perfect.
See you in a bit.
Superb.
Take care. Nice to meet you guys.
Cheers, pal. Keep safe.
See you later.
Bye. See you. Bye. Bye.